young girl named Haruko who was attending university in a large city. One night she had to stay late in the library to finish a project, and it was almost dark by the time she returned home. Haruko lived on the 14th floor of an old apartment building. She stood in the entrance and pressed a button to call the elevator. She always hated coming home alone, so late in the evening, it just didn't feel safe. When the elevator came, she stepped inside and pushed the button for her floor. Just as the doors were about to close, a handsome man came running up. The man was out of breath and put his hand out to stop the doors closing. Then he stepped in the elevator and stood beside her. "You live on the 14th floor?" he asked, seeing the button lit up. "Yes," Haruko responded. "Oh," said the man, smiling. "I live on the 13th. As the elevator ascended, he pressed the button for 13. Through the windows in the elevator door, Haruko watched the floors go by, as they both stood in silence. She stole a few glances at the man. He certainly was handsome. She wondered if he would ever be interested in dating her. When he happened to look at her, she batted her eyelids and smiled sweetly at him. Just then, the elevator stopped at the 13th floor. The doors opened, and the man stepped out. "See you later," he said. "Yes, see you," replied Haruko. As the doors of the elevator were closing behind them, the man suddenly turned around, pulled a sharp knife out of his jacket, and said in a menacing voice, "Upstairs." Then, laughing like a maniac, he ran towards the staircase. The girl was terrified, but before she could do a thing, the door shut and the elevator began to ascend. She began to panic. Desperately, she hammered the buttons with her fist, trying to get the elevator to stop, but it was no use. When it reached the 14th floor and the doors opened, the man with the knife was already standing there, waiting for her. And the man knew the worst part for her wasn't the stabbing, wasn't the bleeding, wasn't the dying. It was the waiting as the elevator slowly climbed up. Her knowing she could do nothing about it. Robert was a shy and antisocial teenager of 16 who spent most of his free time on his computer doing what he enjoyed most, which was playing scary games and reading scary stories. His parents both worked long hours and never had much time for their son. One night, his parents went out and Robert spent the night playing games on his laptop. He had his headphones on and was listening to scary music. By midnight, his parents still had not come home, and he decided to stay up and wait for them. He went to the sink to get himself a glass of water, and when he came back to his laptop, he noticed a black spot on his computer screen. He rubbed the screen with his finger, but the stain did not disappear. Robert tried to ignore it and continued to play his game. A few minutes later, he noticed that the stain appeared to have increased in size. He wet his finger and rubbed the screen again, but the black spot wouldn't go away. The spot slowly began to increase in size, and Robert started to get scared. He removed his headphones and he heard the sound of heavy breathing. A chill ran down his spine as he realized it wasn't a black spot at all. It was actually a shadow of something that had crept up behind him. It was the thing in the picture. When his parents came home that night, they found their son lying face down on his laptop. His throat had been cut from ear to ear, and there was blood all over the keyboard. On the screen was the text of the story you're hearing now. How do I know this? Because I wrote this story. I am the thing in the picture.